My last video on Diddy didn't go so well. It didn't do too well at all because I had some audio issues and it was too long of a video. I just couldn't really fix it and it was already up. And it's still watchable. It's just, you know, the audio's kind of quiet. Oh well, you can work around it, watch it, or don't. Things are getting worse with Diddy. This will be the definitive Diddy video for now until the next one comes out. So this one will be a lot better. I'm not going to have any audio issues, hopefully.
Free Diddy? Wait, who said what? Who said free Diddy?
For the opening statements, day one.
Everybody gets their own free Diddy. Free Diddy's for everybody.
Elizabeth, thank you so much for coming out really quickly to talk about this. So first, I want you to set the stage. The whole scene out there. You had almost trouble getting into the courthouse today. Talk to us about what you're seeing.
Oh yeah, I crashed out a little bit this morning, Jeff.
Okay. Can we stop using crash out? Can we stop using crashing out? Everybody's using it and everybody's putting their own definition on it. I don't like it. Stop using it. I'm tired of hearing that word. My brain is going to explode if I hear that word again.
Thinking I was not about it to get inside that courtroom just because of just how crazy it is. I mean, you can just see the lines just going all the way back
Yeah,
with
I bet.
media. It's going all the way back just with the public, just so some people could either, one, watch the trial, get a glimpse of Diddy's family members coming in and outside of the courtroom, and even as well as see his attorneys, whose members
voyeuristic
include
behavior.
Brian Steele, Mark Agnifilo, Mark Garagos playing in kind of that defensive advisory type of role. So it's crazy out here,
Yeah.
especially, you know, it's Diddy, it's high-profile celebrities, it's
Sure.
salacious allegations.
Sure, people
then on
wanna
top
know.
of that, he's facing a lot of time behind bars, so you can understand
Did
why
he do
so
it?
many people of the public wanted to be here and wanted to get here super early so that way they could attend. I even heard somebody was standing in line and was auctioning off how much that they would give to somebody else in line for up to $500, $600.
Oh my god. Dude, people are actually making money off of Diddy. Like the trial of Diddy. People are selling places in line. That's crazy.
So that's just a lot of people here. Now, as far as who was inside the courtroom today, still is a lot of famous faces, or well, let me not say famous faces, but a lot of people that we are definitely familiar with here at Law and Crime. You have Mark Garagos in the courtroom, Karen Agnifilo, who is the wife of Mark Agnifilo, who's also representing Luigi as well, too. You had Little Rod inside, inside the courtroom today, and he's one who had filed one of the many civil claims against Diddy as well, too. He came in.
Yeah.
This is how we know that we've turned the government into reality TV, because we're selling tickets to a Diddy trial. That's insane, man. How did we get to this point?
Probably I would say maybe a little like 8:30ish.
Hugh
Kind of came in
scalpers?
with the
Yeah, I guess
sunglasses,
so.
2 chains on, as well as his attorney was inside that courtroom as well too. You have all of Diddy's children, with the exception of his youngest daughter, Love, were inside that courtroom. So that includes Quincy Brown, Justin Combs, Christian Combs, Delilah Combs, Chance Combs, Jesse Combs. Chance's mother was inside that courtroom. Diddy's mother was inside that courtroom. The daughter of Diddy's youngest daughter was inside that courtroom. And then you have the twins' caregiver, who is also best friends with Kim Porter, just opening statements just to get this jury selected, because it went down from 43 to 18 today. And so a lot of people were inside that courtroom. It was body to body. And what can you expect? It's Diddy's first day of trial. So this was, you know, just a little bit of what we were expecting today. But it's crazy out here.
And I will encourage everybody to check out what you're posting on X, Twitter. Because earlier today you actually posted that you saw Rodney Little Rod Jones, one of the first people to sue Sean Combs. He was outside the courthouse. We were always
I have no idea who that is. I have never heard that name before.
expecting who would end up showing up during the course of this trial. Talk to us about the jury. Who is this jury? What can you tell about how they're reacting so far to opening statements? I mean, NBC has reported you have one juror who's a 69-year-old male, another juror who's a 31-year-old male, another one 51-year-old male. You have a 42-year-old female, and they have different numbers to them. But what are you determining based on the jury? What's the makeup, and how are they?
Does it fucking matter? I mean, this guy's getting locked up. It doesn't matter. Like, you could give.
Yeah, he is a burned FBI asset. It doesn't matter at this point. It doesn't matter what the jury looks like and who they are. The FBI wants him gone. The government wants him gone. So he's gonna get gone.
Bro, you could get 5 random people, 8 random people, and this dude would be done.
Conditioning. How are they reacting to the opening statement so
It doesn't
far?
even matter.
Yeah, well, kind of a hard question or answer, I should say, just because of where I was sitting inside the gallery. It was really hard to kind of see each and every single one of their faces when both sides were presenting opening statements.
Yeah.
But what I did see from being inside that gallery was some people
USA
jotting
versus
notes,
Sean
some people
Combs.
just very much intently listening
Is
to
that
both
him?
Emily.
It's more like USA versus Hollywood, and this is just the first one. First domino that falls. Well, first of these big, high-profile cases. For now, we might not ever see another one again. Who knows? Maybe they'll get this on wraps. They'll figure out how to cover everything up. Or maybe they'll realize that nobody actually gives a shit and we'll all just buy tickets, so they'll make money off of using somebody like Diddy, and then they'll make money off of selling people tickets to the trial.
Johnson for the prosecution, as well as Tony Garagos for the defense. But as far as the makeup goes, I kind of just took their jury numbers
Is it
and
on
compared them
Facebook?
to the notes that I took last week when I was here for jury selection. You have one who's a scientist, one whose brother is a security guard. He knew Diddy was arrested.
Do you think Diddy acted alone? No, and I don't care about this case at all until Diddy starts naming names.
True, same brother. Same. I want him to start snitching. But I don't think they're gonna let him. I think he was probably told not to snitch or he would die. That he's just gonna have to take this one on the chin.
That's what my real opinion is about it. I mean, like, I think it's like, it's just so obvious that he's guilty, right? I mean, it's like the Bill Cosby thing. Like, oh, one person comes out against Bill Cosby. You know, like, it was 40 years ago, who knows?
Little known fact. Bill Cosby got released from prison early because they found some problems with the procedural. They had procedural issues with the conviction, so they had to let him go. That's probably what's going to happen with Diddy.
People come out against Bill Cosby. Oh, well, you know, it's famous. Sometimes these happens to people. 3 people come out about Bill Cosby. Well, that's kind of weird. 4 people come back about Bill Cosby. Yeah, listening to that stand-up, that is kind of a weird joke. 7 people come out about Bill Cosby. Oh, wow. Whoa, what's this? And you're up to like 40 or something like that. Uh-oh. You know, things aren't looking too good. And so I feel this way with Diddy too, right? Is that with this many people, this many examples, 1,000 pounds of baby oil, bro, this dude's a freak. But we all know that. Everybody knows that. When are we going to get the names of the people that were related to this?
We probably won't. We might get a few, and it's going to be like a couple of people that kind of did something really bad that could get them some jail time. But we're not going to hear any like big names, people at the top. No way. Like we're not going to be seeing nothing happen to Beyonce, the queen bee.
To hold them accountable as well. That is what I want to know. That is what I want to see.
Ain't going to happen, sorry.
Never? No, guys. I think we will. We're talking about Leonardo DiCaprio, people like this. We're not talking about Bill Clinton. Okay, like this is like a mountain next to a molehill. Like, yes, obviously the people in the Epstein list, a lot of them are going to get away because they're heads of state and they're fucking billionaires. But these are just movie stars. If you think that
they're movie stars that are wrapped up in the government. A lot of them are government assets. And I don't think those types of people are going to be, I don't think they're going to be named.
there's even a remote clout comparison between a movie star and a president of a country, this is not even close.
I disagree. I think it is actually pretty close because government knows that celebrities are extremely influential and they know that they are willing to do really heinous shit for more fame, power, and money. So they use that against them. So they are tied up in like higher power people in the government.
But didn't know the charges. You have one person who's part of a union job. He works for the Department of Corrections. Another person who is now retired, but previously...
I don't think he'll need to. I think the video, because he said they recorded so much of this stuff. I don't think he's gonna need to flip. They're gonna have the evidence for it. It's gonna be just play the tape, right?
to work at Verizon.
Or
You had
Bieber?
another
I
person
know.
whose friend is a detective.
It's hard
son
to
is a
say, but it
security
sure
guard.
seems
But,
interesting.
you know, as far as the defense was kind of making their objections today, as far as jury selection goes, and, you know, just kind of the objections they made that, you know, the government was striking 7
I
black.
have an objection. We can't have this jury member on the jury. This person is against sexual assault and rape. I think this would be biased against our case. So I'd like to recommend the court to look for a new person who isn't as biased against sexual assault.
Jurors, that type of thing. There were still
That's so true, man. They do shit like that. That's crazy.
black jurors that are going to be serving on this panel, who are going to be making making the decisions going into those deliberations. So from what I saw of the jury makeup as a whole, it really was a diverse group of men and women of all different ages.
Isn't it supposed to be a jury of your peers? Not jury of how diverse we can be? I don't know. I'm not gonna focus too hard on that.
Shut up. Shut up and go back to selling water. Shut up, you idiot. What are you doing?
Decisions going.
They just gotta like force their identity politics into literally everything. Even this, like, something as inconsequential to identity politics as the Diddy trial.
Into those deliberations. So from what I saw of the jury makeup as a whole, it really was a diverse group of men and women of all different ages, all different walks of life as well too.
So I'm gonna we hear
That guy in the background. The only thing Sean Combs is guilty of is being a black man. What the fuck? I think that guy's probably a creep too. He's probably doing a lot of similar things that Diddy was doing behind the scenes. Those are usually the types that are defending people like Diddy. Or maybe he's just an absolute moron who worships celebrity culture. I don't know.
some commentary in
Is
the back.
being a black man. Oh my god. It's again. What is wrong with you? Stop. This is not.
All of these morons are just hyper-focused on sex and race constantly.
He's guilty of being black? Like what?
Right there. Obviously, I think there's going to be a lot of commentary
God.
when it comes to this case. But Elizabeth, you know, we counted up right now, I believe.
He's actually, you guys might not know this, but that was actually his interview for being part of Diddy's jury. Yeah, the Diddy case is going to see them, and the defense is going to see him, and they're going to try to bring him on the jury now.
We,
That was his
as
interview.
we're looking into this, we're counting up how many men there are. I believe there's 8 men.
No, never mind. Somebody said that was his lawyer.
4 women on this jury, all different ages, none of them younger than 30 years old. Take that for what it is, a little bit of older individuals as well. But I think it's really interesting when you talk about what we saw today with opening statements, right? And by the way, just to reiterate something that you mentioned before, the first argument.
Last time I went to jury duty, they interviewed me. They said, they're like, can you uphold the law? I said, no. I'm just going to look at them. I tell you right now, if they're guilty, I just look at them. And they're like, are you being serious? I said, yeah, I'm being serious. Yeah, you just look at them, you know if they did it or not.
Yeah, that's how you get out of jury duty. Just go and be like, yeah, and just be completely retarded. Just be a moron. I can see the look on his face whether he's guilty or not. I can see it in his eyes.
That's it. Yeah, I wasn't even lying, right? Like 9 times out of 10, you just look at them, you know they did it.
We heard from the defense today
obvious.
was saying that the prosecution, they raised what's called a Batson challenge.
Wouldn't they kick you-
to
yeah,
their
they kicked me
preemptory
off.
challenges, saying you're
I got
striking
kicked off.
jurors based on race, which is improper. The judge didn't side with it. They got a jury selected. Talk about opening statements. I want to start
He's
with the
still crashing out in the
prosecution.
background.
Emily Johnson. What was the main theme of today, and did you learn something new? And Elizabeth, you're going to have to talk
They're
a little
going to
bit
have to put this guy in Grand Theft Auto 7.
louder, because
100% that guy's gonna be a meme.
that guy behind you is incredibly loud. So, so what was the theme of Emily Johnson's opening statement, and did you learn anything new? Anybody that might testify?
Yeah, so, you know, obviously we've been following this case from the beginning, from the time that Cassie had first dropped her civil lawsuits against Diddy. And so a lot of this stuff that we were listening to from Emily Johnson was expected, right? You know, she starts off with saying, this is Sean Combs. He's a
What are these? What are these artist depictions of the court case? What is this? The courtroom depictions. They're all ridiculous.
Cultural icon, a businessman. He's larger than life. But then she went and kind of talked about the defendant's crimes, the defendant being Diddy, that went past 20 years, you know, kidnapping, allegations of arson, allegations of drug trafficking, sex crimes, obstruction. You know, they were talking about one specific night where the defendant was on the hunt for girlfriend Cassie. So I was pretty surprised.
He's on the hunt? I mean, I feel like, really, you gonna just say it that way? I mean, fuck, bro. Let's just get to the conviction part. Like, on the hunt?
Out of the gates and already had just named her. I was assuming when she were going to be taking the stand, that's when the jurors would know her name. That's when she would be introduced as.
I'm just waiting for some juicy details, man. I want to know who was involved, to what happened. That's all I care about.
You know.
Hey guys, keep in mind that a lot of the celebrities that were at these different parties were the ones that were crying into their cameras during COVID, telling you to get vaccinated and who to vote for.
True. So true. Hollywood is full of evil pedos who are just out to manipulate you for money, power, and fame. Every time, man. Anybody who defends them or listens to these celebrities, they're just as bad. They're just as evil. Just because you're ignorant doesn't make you also evil.
Keep that in mind, okay?
Alleged victim number one, but the government came out and just automatically just named her. You know, they talked about the incident where Diddy found out Cassie was seeing another man, and that Diddy took his gun and his bodyguard, and Diddy threatened to allegedly kill this man that Cassie was with. You know, Emily Johnson talked about how he had beat Cassie so brutally that he also had to take control of her. He kept videos of Cassie sleeping with escorts and threatened to use them against her. These are.
I wonder if we're going to get any more information about Diddy and Tupac. We might. That'd be crazy.
The types of things we had already known and were already kind of painted out inside.
So this is the stuff that everybody already knows about this. Like, it's not even a big deal. It's like, oh yeah, of course, you know, he threatened to kill her boyfriend, and you know, he like recorded her without her consent, with everything. But like, yeah, we're talking about the new stuff.
Indictments that the government had written up and that type of sort. You know, Diddy referring himself as a king, which is kind of ironic.
He had a male stripper piss in her mouth.
Diddy actually is a king. I'll give him that. He is a king. He is like a king from the Renaissance era. When you got these weird sex parties going on and you're beating people and like having people murdered and things. Straight up, yeah.
You know what I bet that is? I bet that's a 2 out of 10 on the Diddy scale. And you know the worst thing about it is I bet nobody in this chat is going to even begin to disagree with that.
Has a giant king crown on the back of his neck. You know, Emily Johnson spoke about the defendant using his inner circle to manipulate women that for a while he watched, how his bodyguards kind of played, or bodyguards as well as employees kind of played a role in.
Yeah, that's how it always happens throughout history with kings, with royalty. Always the guards are involved too, and allowing it to happen, and a lot of times are setting it up to happen.
To this alleged RICO conspiracy as well too, you know, and she made it a point to say this case is not about a celebrity's private sex preferences, because that was something that the defense definitely kind of chalked it up
well,
to
I mean, if the preferences are people that are under a certain age, I do think that it's a bit relevant.
And also when drugs are involved, does nobody care that drugs are involved anymore? We used to.
But, you know, yeah, it doesn't matter if he's gay or not. Like, nobody gives a shit about
you know, that he lived an alternative lifestyle.
I give a shit about it only if he pretends that he's not gay. Then I do give a shit. If he tells the whole world, hey, I'm gay, then I don't care he's gay. But the fact that he's like, I ain't gay.
That type of story. We'll talk about that more in a second. You know, while there has been a lot of reports about victim 3 and where her whereabouts are or anything like that, the defense didn't talk about alleged victim number 3. Instead, they kept it pretty short and to the point. They talked about Cassie. They talked about Jane, who we presume to be the other alleged victim. In this case, the government was talking about, you know, the freak-offs being also named Wild King Night, something that we had also known about as well.
Wild King Night.
Yeah, parties for him, where everything's all about him. Like, straight up, he is right. He is right. He is a king. And that king just got dethroned by powers that are greater than he.
Do you remember what I said about that Cat Williams interview? You can be Kang the Conqueror, but in 2 weeks, your life can get turned upside down. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Just because you're on top and you're also an evil monster, and being an evil monster put you on top doesn't mean you get to be that evil monster forever. Doesn't mean that you get to be on top forever. Well, you'll still always be an evil monster, but you'll be a different evil monster. You'll be an evil monster that's locked in a box.
Even just simply as hotel nights
Wow.
as well too.
It's 2 weekends?
Allegations of flying
That's about right, huh?
escorts across state lines, out of the country, into the country, that type of thing. That Diddy had demands to for the staff to set up his rooms in advance, lighting, lube, cash for escorts, drugs for both Diddy and the women that were participating in these types of events. Women had to dress in lingerie, had to wear white nails, tall heels, something that Cassie had pointed out in her civil lawsuit that was later settled. Talking about the drug
This
use.
is out of like a movie.
Then they went into kind of, the allegations specifically here.
Actually, it's not out of a movie. This is the kind of events they make movies out of. There's probably going to be a movie about this.
Cassie, and just how the defendant had met Cassie. They had a 17-year age difference. Cassie was initially given a 10-album deal. And
17 years. That's a lot.
As far as putting out a whole bunch of different albums and that type of sort.
Hey, I got it. Blow 2. Blow Job. There we go. And it'd be starring somebody who's playing Diddy. Who should play Diddy? Who should play Diddy in the Blow sequel?
And so these were types of things that we had already known about. I think some of the more interesting points also go to Jane.
I mean, that's not even a big thing, right? I mean, 2 consenting adults, there's a predatory relationship going on. I mean, this is obviously like unseemly behavior, but this is not really this is not really why he's in court, right? I mean, let's be honest. It's like just more evidence of the bad behavior.
Kanye
wants him free.
Other alleged victim, she was a single mom.
Kanye wants Hitler free.
Met Diddy around 2020.
What does that
Diddy
mean?
Was single, but when Jane was single, but Diddy was seeing other people.
Of course, Kanye would want him free. He's probably doing all that weird sexual deviant stuff too. 100% he was. Just look at that weird, his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend now, being dressed up in a transparent outfit. It's fucking weird.
I mean, that doesn't really mean a whole lot, does it?
Introduced Jane to the freak-offs, and she had tried one just to kind of make him happy, and then just kind of kept going into this repetitive cycle of doing these freak-offs, wild hotel nights, that type of sort, just to kind of appease him.
I wonder what the hotels were thinking after Diddy leaves the next day, and what they're gonna have to deal with and the cleanup of that.
Yeah, sure.
That Jane didn't want to do these freak offs, and that she had tried at even one point to hire men on her own that worked in the porn industry so she could pick the men. Diddy made her these escorts not wear condoms when they allegedly participated in these types of activities. So these were just kind of the big things that were pointed out as far as the government. And Jesse, do you want me to go into the defense? Because the defense was pretty interesting as well too.
Oh my
Before you
God.
go into the defense, as I was reading about the reporting today, it was the first confirmation that Cassandra Ventura is victim 1 in this case. We always guessed it, we always surmised it. Now we have a definitive answer. And by the way, I think it was either the prosecution or the defense who mentioned that she's going to probably testify this week, as we wonder who the first witnesses are going to be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we're gonna be making more Diddy videos in the next couple weeks.
And also this reference to Mia, who is Sean Combs' personal assistant, that is maybe going to provide
Any females that are in Diddy's space whatsoever are most likely involved with Diddy, because those are the types of females that he would have around him as somebody who would be involved.
some important testimony in this
What do
case.
you think the odds are that his personal assistant that happens to be an attractive woman is going to be involved in this lawsuit? Like, jeez, guys. We really got to sit down and think about this one, huh?
Yeah, she's probably involved in all the weird stuff that Diddy was doing. And she probably knows way too much. Oh man, I feel sorry for her. Don't get involved with these celebrities who do weird shit. Don't get involved with anybody who does weird shit. Because once the case comes out and people know that you might not survive it. I hope that she's alright, and I hope that she's with people that can protect her.
Oh, man.
Now, before we go to the defense, real quick.
I wonder.
As though you're looking at all these people that are behind you right now, Elizabeth.
Yeah. I wonder who's gonna be tied to this case or just gonna end up missing or dead.
Yeah.
Are these all reporters? Are these all fans? Are these all people
Diddy
who
fans?
are supporting Sean Combs, who are not supporting Sean Combs? Are these just interested spectators? I'm trying to get a sense
Probably all of them, all of the above. A lot of clout chasers too, people who just want to post about it on social media.
of people that are walking behind you right now.
All the above.
Obviously, I was trying not to pay attention so much because it's really so many people, but it's really just kind of a common mix. It's a lot of people who are here with the media. You know, you have field producers, you have social media producers, you know, and pretty much every outlet across the country is here right now inside that courtroom. I wouldn't say there's too many supporters beyond that one guy just kind of yelling, and he had been kind of saying some pretty vile things to us.
Really? I would have never guessed that.
So, you know, we're trying too much not to pay attention.
He's just crashing out. Yeah, just don't
there's that word again. Stop. No more crash out.
Look at him. He'll go away.
To him as much as possible. As far as the family goes, you know, right before we did this hit, we saw the family kind of get into a Sprinter van and kind of drive off, maybe to get something to eat, maybe to decompress, because, you know, think about it, Jesse, his children were inside that courtroom, especially his daughters.
I wonder what they heard and what they saw from this. Man, I feel sorry for them. That's crazy.
We're inside that courtroom hearing about their father, you know, booking escorts and beating, allegedly beating women and that type of sort. So maybe it was just the time that all the family members just had to get out of here, get away from this media circus. But for the most part, it's a good mix of both media and just the general public who are just genuinely curious.
So Elizabeth, I know you have to jump back into that courtroom because they're going to start up in about 15 minutes.
Ooh, it's starting up soon. Looks like we're going to get some rolling news coming this week.
Quick, if you could summarize the defense's opening statement, some highlights there.
He didn't do it. It wasn't him. This was somebody else. This is a coordinated attack on him. It's all made up. The videos are AI. All of the witnesses are just paid actors. Whole thing's fake. It wasn't me.
They're just turning it into a reality show. Get everybody distracted. They're not paying attention to the other islands that are everywhere with the Epstein-like figures. I don't know. Probably, maybe. Who knows? I don't care, really. Because I don't know nothing about none of that. So, Sean Combs! Witnessing his downfall.
Yeah, the defense's opening statements were pretty, we were kind of expecting them. They were going to have to admit that Diddy had been physically violent towards women.
So my understanding, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but the guy who represented Osama bin Laden was going to be on Diddy's case, but he dropped out because he just thought that this was a bit too much.
That is fucking insane. I think I heard that. I think I heard that. But to be fair, I think when that guy defended Osama bin Laden, it was before a lot of the 9/11-ish type stuff happened.
I swear. Wait, really? Let me see if I can find it.
Yes, please look for it. I need actual information about this.
Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay. Yes, just so you guys, because it's such a ridiculous thing to say, I have to give it an example, right? Jesus Christ, what is this? Who is Anthony Bico? The lawyer who quit Diddy's case.
Oh, so he was working for Diddy and dropped out. It wasn't that, like, he got hired and was like, I decided not to do it. No, he actually got through some of the stuff with Diddy's case, and it was just like, whoa, man, okay, this is deep, this runs deep.
Once represented Osama bin Laden, but he told the judge that under no circumstances could he continue to serve as counsel for Sean Combs.
There's probably a lot of getting in contact with people, you know, getting in contact with a lot of enemies of Diddy. And he was just like, this is sketchy, and if this goes wrong, this could mean my life. I'm gonna drop out of this one. I don't blame him whatsoever.
Imagine being in this lineup and this guy isn't the worst one. How does that happen? Oh my God.
Who was worse? Osama bin Laden or Sean Diddy Combs?
That's saying a lot, yes!
Well, if they're involved with human ficking, as it says there on the screen, then I'd say they're probably just as bad. Especially if it's underage people.
Holy shit!
In the past, they were going to have to admit that Diddy had this type of temper, that he participated in taking these types of drugs, and that his temper was especially bad whenever he was on drugs and alcohol.
You don't say.
There was a point in the openings where Diddy stood up when Teni Garagos was introducing him to the jury. For the most part, even throughout opening statements, he kind of sat there calmly. He looked at the jurors. He looked at Teni Garagos, who again provided the opening statements on the defense's behalf.
Yeah.
The defense was kind of harping on the fact that the government has no place in his bedroom, something that we had talked about plenty.
So they're actually gonna go with that.
Oh, I cannot wait to see all the crazy things that happened while Diddy was messed up.
That this is all a coordinated attack by the government to shut down Diddy.
I think that's true, actually. I actually do think that's true. But I also think that Diddy did all of the things. But he was also an FBI asset. And now he's burned.
Oh my God.
Many of times, just how they're kind of painting this as somebody, who did bad things on one hand, but were these bad things criminal? And that was essentially what the defense's argument was there.
Getting people on drugs and having orgies, I'd say, is criminal.
They said
were they criminal? Well, I mean, if 1% of them are true, yeah. Yeah, like 1%.
The defense will see domestic violence in this trial, but while they do take it seriously, they say
Domestic violence is illegal too, by the way.
it's not sex trafficking. So I feel like they're trying to divide this line between, this being a violence in this trial.
Prostitution is sex trafficking.
But while they do take it seriously, they say it's not sex trafficking. So I feel like they're trying to divide this line between, this being a domestic violence spat or domestic violence toxic relationship type of thing, as opposed to these being actual criminal acts that Diddy was allegedly committing.
Multiple people have said that they were involved with prostitutes. So I don't think he's getting off with that one. I think he's taking this one.
And that type of thing. The defense was saying that these alleged victims were strong, capable women, that they made choices that were for adults, they were free of choice, and they came with both pros and cons, and that type of thing. And then they were kind of talking a lot about how Diddy was jealous and how, other partners or his other relationship partners.
The reason being is the United States had absolutely no evidence to prove Osama bin Laden was the man behind 9/11, but there is immense evidence implicating Puff Daddy. Well, I don't know why Bush did it either, right? But I do think it's an interesting comparison.
For example, Cassie. They also mentioned Gina, somebody I had talked about in some stories I had done. She had talked about how Diddy was physically violent with her in a podcast episode, for example. And so that was kind of her mention there.
How many examples?
All of this just sounds like a really, really messed up movie. They could make a Blow movie out of this. I'm serious.
The government was talking about as far as
Diddy's team moves to dismiss its rate. Oh my God, guys, it's racism. It's racism. That's the reason why he's on trial.
He's gonna try and get all of the talking points, all of the media talking points that get everybody riled up. I don't think it's gonna work, especially if he goes through all of the checklist, starts ticking all the boxes, going for everything.
Diddy's team moves to dismiss prostitution case alleging a racial bias. Right, they're summoning the old magic. Yeah, bro, I don't think that's gonna work anymore.
You know, alleged victims in this case and that type of sort. They had mentioned Kim Porter and how Cassie was jealous of Kim Porter's relationship with Diddy and that type of thing.
Yeah.
And then everything kind of ended as soon as Kim Porter had passed away. Cassie went to her memorial service, and that was the last time she had seen Diddy, even prior to her expectation that she'll be inside that courtroom testifying. You know, these jurors are going to see some of these freak off videos, but they say that it was taken from Cassie's devices, not Diddy's devices. And so, you know, they talked about.
So does that matter?
She faked him. She used AI because she's a genius, apparently.
Like, I mean, if he's doing it, he's either doing it or he's not
They're trying to Dead Man Wonderland him.
doing it.
For example, who had worked with Diddy for a number of years, and the defense says, you know, they want jurors to evaluate her motive to testify. When they were talking
Her
about
motive to testify. I don't know, maybe because she got sexually assaulted and abused? But I'm sure it's all just for attention, though, right? That's the real reason.
And she's still being dragged into all of this. Like, it's still happening. She's still having to be reminded of it every day.
Jane
Oh, yeah.
Doe, it was the same thing, that this was a jealous relationship. Jane wanted to be more public, whereas Diddy, you know, he flaunted other relationships that weren't with Jane and that type of thing. So those were some
Allegedly.
of the biggest takeaways
True.
from the defense's
Allegedly.
openings, as well as the government's openings.
You ever seen that show Empire? Take that show Empire. That's Diddy's life, and then multiply the criminality of it times 100. There you go. Throw in some weird orgies here and there, everywhere.
As well, too.
These are the arguments we anticipated. Now, obviously, there's a lot more detail to it. We're hearing it in an official capacity. And these jurors, while they might have heard certain aspects of this case, this is the first time, presumably, both arguments are being positioned to them for the first time in such a very particular way.
This is just day one. This is just day one. They don't even do the heavy-hitting stuff on day one. This trial is just going to keep getting crazier and crazier all the way up to the end. I cannot wait to see what happens.
And this is opening statements. It's not evidence, but it is the start, the official start of Sean Combs' criminal trial. Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for reporting. Go back into that courthouse. Stay safe
I'm gonna
out
link you
there.
guys the
There's
video.
a lot of interesting characters you're seeing running around. But thanks, Elizabeth. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's some bro. That's some crazy ass people there, and yeah, wow. And opening out, Diddy is beyond cooked. Yeah, like this guy is done, man.
Even if he comes out innocent, he is done. He's going to be blacklisted. I don't think anybody's going to work with him except for behind the scenes.
And it would have been more believable if he used some claims. Yeah, there's the video right there. Give it a like. I mean, I think this guy is done, bro. Like, he's done. Everybody knows he's.
That's what happens when you try and be a criminal and also be into weird sex stuff and also do a lot of drugs. You just can't keep track of all of the criminality, all the bad things that you do.
Done. Like, it's not even a question of whether he's done. It's like honestly, again,
it's like how done is he? How much is he done with?
Wake me up when we get the accomplices list, because that's who I really want to see. And I think, do you remember the day that Diddy got arrested and like 20 public officials and people resigned from their jobs at the exact same day? Like, that was a really interesting, wasn't that crazy? Wow, what are the odds that would happen? Wow, that's crazy.
See what I mean? He's a burned FBI asset. That's what I'm talking about. 100%. There's like no question, no doubt in my mind that he is an FBI asset that got burned and they're just throwing him away.
Look at that. Actors too, yeah. And
there's so many actors. What do you want to bet that Mark Hamill is one of them?
so I want to see them get brought up on this. I do, because I feel like this has been one of those like like Epstein or like Weinstein,
I think this is way worse than Weinstein. I think Weinstein was propping up the attractive women industry. Ever since Weinstein went away, we've been getting all these ugly women characters. What happened? He really knew how to pick them.
Fucking open secrets. And man, let's close this shit.
What other open secrets are going on in Hollywood that everybody knows about but nobody's talking about and nobody's like doing anything about. Is there anything else? Because I know I was hearing Weinstein over the years, Diddy over the years. Every once in a while, something about Cosby would pop up. Who's next?
Let's close it, Leo. I love Leonardo DiCaprio as an actor, but if he was involved in this shit, he's got to go to jail. Like, that's just the way it is. And so that's the way I see it.
Roman Polanski. Why is we need to get on this whole Roman Polanski thing and all of the celebrities who defended him. Because that's crazy. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, too bad Leo's a bad guy. Well, we don't know yet. I don't want to believe it. I really don't want to believe it. But I'm going to wait for the evidence, and then I'm going to decide. He only fucks 18 to 25? Yep, that's right. But last time I checked, that's legal. And so before I start fucking hating the guy, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Free Diddy?
No, don't free Diddy. I accidentally restarted the video. Absolutely insane. This whole situation's insane. I hope that Diddy gets his comeuppance. I hope he gets what he deserves, which is a nice cold spot in a prison cell and all of his assets seized and sold off, auctioned off to the highest bidder for lower than market value. I hope 50 Cent buys everything. I hope 50 Cent buys all of everything that was Diddy's and then just takes a giant shit all over it. It'd be awesome, man. That's all I got for this one. Buy a t-shirt down there in the description. I'm out.